Hey, what's up? It's a Fit Gear Hunter, and today we're going to talk about the heart rate accuracy of the Amazfit GTR3. This watch is $179. It has an AMOLED screen, good battery life, and I'll talk about all that in the full review coming up in 2 days. But the biggest thing is that it has training metrics. It can calculate your aerobic and anaerobic training effect, your training load, and give you recovery time estimates, just like Garmin does and Coros does and Polar does somewhat and Suunto does. So it gives you high quality training, but we have to determine if the heart rate is accurate for a CrossFit workout. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I want the Amazfit GTR3 to get some notice, so please give it a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing for more. I have the full review for this coming out in 2 days. I've got, like a simple snapshot of the Garmin Fenix 6 mineral blue variant just to show you what that looks like, because nobody else has done that. A bunch of reviews are coming out. I've been long-term testing the the Whoop 4.0, which is hot off the press. So stay tuned for more. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to look at the accuracy of the optical heart rate sensor, because by God, this thing has got to be accurate for all the training metrics to be worthwhile, especially at an inexpensive price. You think all the other watches I've tested from Amazfit, Huawei, and Xiaomi, and Honor, they have not had any accuracy when tracking. The Huawei GT2 was just abysmal. It was just like flatline at like 120 beats per minute when my heart rate's way up here. And most of the optical heart rate sensors just can't keep up with a rise and a spike in a higher heart rates just in general. So we're going to track this in 3 specific ways. One, we're going to track it, the average heart rate across the whole workout, above 100 beats per minute, because every watch should get 100 beats per minute and less, correct? Average heart rate, percent accuracy, the percent accuracy of your zone 4 and zone 5. So you're 80 to 100% of max heart rate, because if you're tracking CrossFit, it's the intensity, the rise, the times your heart rate is spiking that a watch has to be able to pick up with and give you time in those high level zones, because the time in those high level zones will evaluate to your cardiovascular strain more directly. So you're, doing bench presses and your heart's staying at about 110 beats per minute, well, you're not building any anaerobic capacity. You're not really growing your fitness with that. But if you're keeping your heart rate at 165 beats per minute because you're doing double unders and box jumps and burpees, that's what you have to capture, is those high heart rate zones. So zone 4 and 5. And then the last and hardest metric is zone 5. 90 to 100% of max heart rates. And all the opticals I've tested have underperformed. They've just not gotten it. They can't get that high. They can't track that high. So we're going to look at those 3 metrics across a number of workouts. We're going to look at the charts. I can't export the overall raw data to be able to overlay the charts on top of themselves so you can see them. So we're going to look at one chart and then like chest strap chart and the Amazfit GTR chart. So we're going to look at those back and forth, and then we're going to look at the statistics for how it performs. So with that, let's dive in. All right, so this is what the heart rate sensor looks like on the Amazfit GTR3. See, it's just got a centralized little set of diodes just beating and pulsing in the middle there. So we're going to look at every workout, chest strap, and then the Amazfit GTR3. So this is the chest strap for a workout, and this is the Amazfit GTR. This is my first one out of the gate. I was like, good Lord, this thing is really good. Then the second workout, I strapped it down super tight and then realized it actually doesn't track accurately when it's over strapped down, which I don't get, but it needs a little bit of breathing room to be able to correctly, because then it gets back on pace. So chest strap, GTR3. So it's not perfect, but it is picking up the higher heart rate ranges, because you can see on the left side, that's 165. So it's catching peak heart rate. Chest strap, GTR3. So again, really similar. Obviously, the little peaks are not the exact same, and it's not a perfect picture, but it's really good for an optical heart rate sensor. Chest strap, obviously, I actually had a major heart rate issue where it popped up to 220. GTR3, it didn't catch the lifting sections very well, but it did catch the overall Metcon. Chest strap, GTR3. It didn't come up as high in the beginning, but it did. And you can't export fit files, so I can't overlay on top of these one on top of the other. Chest strap, I really like this one, GTR3. I mean, it's, peaking around all over the place a little bit on the peaks, but the range is good. And then here's where I broke it up into warm-up and Metcon separately on the last few tests. So this is the warm-up GTR3. So in warm-ups, when you're just doing light work, it's really, it's overshooting. So it is wanting to overestimate your heart rate and it's not keeping up with the flow. And then you go into the Metcon, and this is the GTR3. Now, if you took that collapse in the beginning out, the flow is very similar, and it's actually very similar for accuracy here too, for the actual numbers. And we're going to look at the accuracy statistics in a second. So this is warm up and very intense back squats. So very heavy 4-rep back squats. And then it just sort of fails. Same just means that this is also warm up and back squats. It's definitely not the same graph. So for whatever reason, the Optical just did not keep up with a spike in intensity, even though it did in other types of workouts. Here's the Metcon, and then there's the GTR3. So, you can see that it's got, again, it's just a lot of variation all over the place, and it didn't jump up as fast as it should, but it's in still the same range. So when we look at the statistics, I want to show you just what the colors mean. The green means 90% or better. The orange means 80s, and the the orange actually is 70 or 80, and then the light green is 80 as well. So obviously I set the code wrong. And then red is fail. So there were 2 times where it failed, but I want you to notice the color of the text itself, because whenever you see red, it's overestimated. So that fail on that middle zone 5 at 33% accurate means that it actually calculated 3 times the amount of zone 5 heart rate time. So you actually have to look next to it to the zone 4 and 5, and it was almost 100% accurate for the amount of time. It just, if basically in any of these workouts, if you were to overestimate my heart rate by 5 beats per minute, you'd put me into zone 5 versus zone 4, because I'm hovering around the lactate threshold of 162, which is where I go into zone 5. Same thing happened for zone 5 on the other red mark. It was basically twice as much as the other zone 5. And there's a missing zone 5 because it was just sort of a negligible amount. But look at the zone 4 and 5 accuracy. So in the highest zones, it may be overestimating me by an average of about 5 beats per minute, but it is picking up the highest percentage of heart rate exertion in the 90s. And then if you were to average these out, the percent average heart rate accuracy is 89%. The zone 5 is 67%, but it's only inaccurate because it was overstating. In all of the optical heart rate, the ones I've tested, it's understating zone 5. It cannot get to that high level of a heart rate. But you look at the zone 4 and 5 and 93% accurate. That is really impressive. Now, if you average these out and you give them proper weightings, it's coming in at 79% accurate across the board based on the metrics that I track all the watches to. But if you look just at that zone 4 and 5 accuracy, 93, that is really helpful for tracking the exertion level, which would flow through to training load. So what do we see? I think there's a few things we need to pay attention to here. One thing, just 72% accurate. Now that is still better than the Polar Precision Prime accuracy when worn for CrossFit. Better than Precision Prime 1.0, better than Precision Prime 2.0, because they were in the 60s when it came to the same, the same measurement system, the same analytical approach. So it is $179. It's better from an optical heart rate accuracy than a lot of primary devices. But what's more important is that if you were just to take the zone 4 and 5, its ability to be accurate in the 80 to 100% of your max heart rate, it's coming in at 93% accurate. That is significant because that is the general areas. And the other thing that's significant is that it's only wrong because it's overestimating the heart. Now that's not great either. So it got low marks, and when it got a low mark and it over-assessed me in my zone 5, it got a low score. It still failed that, and the fail still flowed through to the end to bring it down to a 72. But if you're looking at an optical heart rate sensor that can keep up in general with a CrossFit workout, this is one that works, because in the 80 to 100% of your max heart rate is 93% accurate. And some of those, it was close to 100 for the total time in high level exertion periods of time. And that flows through to all the training metrics. So that is actually significantly important. Now, the fact that they can update that. They can't change the core optical heart rate sensor, but they can make the algorithm smarter to not over peak it. But the fact that it is keeping up with high level intensity is significantly important, and I think it's worthwhile if this is all you can go with. Now, all the other AMOLED watches that are on the market today that also do training load, anaerobic and aerobic exertion evaluation and recovery time, they don't connect to a chest strap either. So if you want those training metrics, you don't get a chest strap. So if you are looking for an inexpensive, large screen, good battery life, this is one to consider, but stay tuned for the full review, because we're going to talk about the pros and cons of this watch in full. So with that, that is the optical heart rate accuracy testing for the Amazfit GTR3. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.